So you've discovered you need to create a new spooler. I'm going to show you today how easy it is to do that with the assistance of Top. So I have the spoolers displayed here, the ones that exist already. So I'm going to right click on spoolers and I'm going to say bring up the new spooler wizard. This brings up a wizard that's going to step me through all of the fairly complex steps that are involved in creating a spooler. So we're going to pick the node that we're going to put it on, and we're going to give it a name. We'll call it SPLM, and go to the next screen. We'll pick some CPUs for this. I want it to run in CPU 2, and I want it backed up in CPU 3. I'm going to leave the priority alone. The wizard knows what priority spoolers should run at. Okay, then I have to define a control file. The default is system.spooler, but here I'm going to give it my own control file. Our work dot SPOOLM dot control. Okay, we'll go on to next. The log file that I'm going to use for it, I'm going to send the events to $0, home it is to the Z home terminal. Okay, and then we've got some parameters for the cold start that basically control the size of the files that are created to hold your jobs. And so I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to hold only 100 jobs in this spooler. I don't need very many devices because I don't plan to actually print from it, so we'll just put a couple in there. Fonts I don't care about too much. I don't need a lot of locations. I've only got 100 jobs. I can't have more than 100 locations. My collectors for the spool, I'm only going to have one collector in here, so I'm just going to put a smaller number for these. And there may be batch jobs going to this, so we'll give it maybe 50 batch jobs that could show up. And the print processes, again, not so many print process. So we'll go on. We're going to call this guy $SM for the collector, because now we need to create collectors for this spooler. We'll use the normal nonstop systems cspool for the collector, but if you had a special collector, you could create your own. Now we need to tell the collector where to run. Let's put him in those same two CPUs, because I happen to know those are good ones on this system. Leave the priority alone again. Where should the data file be? And we're going to leave it right where I originally defined before. I can change the file size if I want, but I'm not going to make it very big because I don't expect to put very much data in this. It's just a demonstration. But this is a point at which you could think about how big you wanted your spool file to be. Okay, I'm going to leave these units alone. And the print process, I'm going to call it $PM. We're going to use fastp as the print process. CPUs 2 and 3 again for the print process. And leave the priority alone because the wizard knows what it should be, but you could adjust it if you want. Then it'll allow you to define some devices to be printed on and so forth. I'm not going to define any devices, but you could put devices in here if you want. And then this wizard is going to create all kinds of command scripts for starting and controlling the new spooler. So it wants to know where to put them. We're going to put them in our sub-volume there that I defined earlier. And we're ready to go. So we'll click Finish. It goes through, creates the spooler supervisor, starts the collector and the print process, writes a bunch of script for us, and there we are, we're done, and we have a new spooler. Okay, and sure enough, if we look up here, we can see that spooler is out there. If I open him up, by double clicking on him, or by bringing him down here, then I can see what's out there. You know, I can see the batches and the jobs and so forth. And if I go down and take a look at the data volume that we looked at, we'll take a look and we'll click on work. What did I call this? Spool M. Spool M, there it is. Let's open that up. Sure enough, we have a bunch of control files in there. If I look at SPL cold, this should be like our cold start for this spooler. All created for us, everything is there. And it fires it all up for us. And so if you want to make this spooler permanent, you could easily go and put this obey file into your system startup, or use the warm start obey file. So that's it. That's creating a spooler.